How's it going? Welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to be showing how to make straight cuts and rip cuts in vinyl plank flooring. This video is brought to you and sponsored by Tools for Flooring and E.J. Welch. Tools for Flooring is the #1 online store for professional flooring tools and supplies. Click on the card to check them out. So the first cut we're going to do is making a straight cut. This is going to come into play whenever you are finishing up a row of vinyl plank and you need to cut it off to meet the distance from your last plank to the wall. You might be able to get by with just taking and pushing down and scoring it. However, if you are a little bit crooked, both ends of these are going to be used, this end of this cut and this end of this cut. So just to keep everything nice and straight and square, I always will use a square, plus it gives me something to ride on the side of with my blade when I'm making my cut. So we're going to say that I need this much right here. I'm going to put my square right dead on my mark. On these, you do not have to push down very hard at all. What you want to do, if you put it just a scratch on top of that, it's going to be okay. However, I will make 2 or 3 or 4 passes on it just to make sure that I get a really nice score mark. What you do is whenever you do this, you will actually create a little weak point in the plank. So whenever you bend it backwards, it automatically breaks on the weak point, okay? So there's 2 or 3, and right there, that's going to be plenty good enough. If you can see that little scratch right there, you might be able to hear that. It ain't very deep at all. Now we can just place our palm on the back of it, bend it right up there. This vinyl plank has a pad on the back of it, so you're going to want to take and cut that as well. As you can see, it allows us to have a nice clean cut here, nice and straight, because we used our speed square on that. Both edges of these planks right here are going to be usable. This will finish our row. This piece right here will go down and start the next run on our next row that we do, okay? Okay, we're on our last row of the room. We have about a 3-inch fill to fill in, so we have to take one of our planks now and actually rip it down long ways in order to fill up that last little bit of void before we get to the wall. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and mark it. So we're going to say we need 3 inches to do that with, so I'm just going to pull my tape, mark it on 3 inches, and that happened to be about pretty close to the center, I guess. Now, couple different things that you could use to do this. If you have a straight edge and would prefer to use a straight edge, by all means go for it. Myself, I use an existing piece of flooring. What happens is if you put your straight edge down there, it's hard on that surface and it tends to want to slide around a little bit. So I will always choose to use a piece of the vinyl plank flooring itself where it has the rubber. It's either going to have a rubber or some kind of foam or something on the back of it, which causes it to get just a little bit better of a bite than the straight edge. It's not going to move around as much on you as you're making your cut, okay? One other thing that I specific on this is I will take and use the actual tongue side on this to run my blade beside instead of using the back side. That way this sits all the way down on the piece of vinyl plank itself rather than on the back. You have just a little void there to where your blade could have actually room to wobble and cause your cut to be a little crooked. So I always use my tongue side of the board as the straight edge, okay? So I'm just going to line my marks up here with the existing piece of vinyl plank. Again, you don't have to get too crazy. If you take and push down really hard on your first pass or so like that, what's going to happen is you could get off a little bit and then it's just going to force this board over and move it like that a little bit. So if you get yourself just 1 or 2 really light passes down the side of your plank with your blade, that will cause a little trench, a little score mark for your blade to ride in. That way you don't have to worry about it jumping, sliding over or anything. Now I got a couple light passes right there. Now this one I can actually bear down in it just a little bit because now I've got a trench dug with my blade, so I'm not going to have to worry about it bouncing over or moving my plank. From here out, I'm going to go a couple light passes again. Again, that just opens up the little trench in the plank I'm digging with my knife. And my third pass, I will push down a little bit hard, okay? Main thing is respect these blades. They are definitely sharp, so you want to be very careful with them. Don't take any chances with them, okay? I'm using concave blades. They seem to do better on vinyl plank flooring. They have a good sharp point and they hold the point longer than a traditional utility blade. However, you can use a traditional utility blade to do that as well. I'll show you that in just a second. So now we have our score mark all the way down the length of the board right there. What I'll do, I will take and place my board upside down like that. And you're going to want to start on the end of the board. If you start in the center, you have all this to bend, and it's just going to make it harder to snap, okay? So I'm going to start on the end of the board. I'm going to place my knees on it. About where I feel like the score mark is going to be, I'm going to put my thumbs right about there. That's about 3 inches, and then I'm just going to push down with my thumbs and bend up with my hands, okay? And my knees bent on this piece here is actually going to hold that down solid on the floor, okay? So down with the thumbs, up with the hands. Now you can see there, it's already gotten started, and it does that a lot easier on the end, okay? So I always will choose to start on the end. We're just going to work our way on down now, using my thumbs to apply pressure to my score mark and pick up with my hands, okay? All right, so we have this completely broke now, and just like a while ago on our straight off cut, we have to take and cut this pad that's on the back of it. What will happen if you just rip it, let me just show you that with this right here. So if you just take and pull that off without cutting your pad, a lot of times it'll actually pull the pad or something off the back of your vinyl plank. So you see that? That's what you don't want to do. If you don't cut it, a lot of times that's what will happen, okay? So definitely want to take and cut right there on that crevice that you caused when you score and snap it. That way your pad stays on the back all nice and clean as it should, and you end up with pad on both pieces nice and clean, just like that right there, okay? Okay, so I want to take now a traditional utility blade here. This is just a regular 2-notch utility blade that you can pick up at any box store, Walmart, or anything like that. If you go to where they sell knives, utility knives, or the tool section at Home Depot or Lowe's or something like that, you'll find the packs of utility blades, okay? These will work. Like I said, these concave blades just tend to stay sharp a lot longer. So only problem with these is you won't find these at a box store or anywhere like that. You'll have to go online probably to find these, unless you have a flooring distributor in your area. You can go pick those up. However, Tools for Flooring does sell these concave blades. I'll leave a link in the description for them, okay? So I want to take now and show you again right here. I'm just going to make a couple cuts over this, just like I did a while ago. This is with a utility knife, and I just want to show you it does do about the same thing. The only difference is the concave blade is going to stay sharp longer, which causes you from having blade changes so often, okay? Okay, so the only thing about using a traditional knife to make your cuts whenever you're cutting vinyl plank is it's a little strenuous on your hands, especially making those rip cuts, because you really got to bear down with your thumbs and bend up on it like so, okay? So this right here, personally, is the one that I use all the time. It's a super cost efficient and lightweight. That's actually the reason why I like it, is because it is such a lightweight little cutter. You can grab it up and pick it up real easy and all that stuff. So this is definitely something that you could buy real easy, even if you only had a couple rooms to turn around and do it. I think they're like $160, so that's really affordable, and it's well worth the money, okay? So you can take, instead of scoring it with all of the other tools that we just used there, this has a little rail on it right here, a fence if you say, and you can just slide it in there right up against that, and now you have your nice clean cut. You don't have to put your T-square down there, score it 4 or 5 times with your knife or anything like that. It just makes it so simple, and it is, like I said, definitely less strenuous on your body, okay? So this is something really affordable for the DIY people that will go do a room or two and don't want to deal with that. However, it is professional grade as well. I use this one all the time, like I said, okay? This is my go-to cutter. This one right here is made actually by the same company. I do want to point out too that there are so many different types of these cutters on the market nowadays. So you could probably pick one up in any kind of flooring store or box store that will sell flooring. I'm sure that you can go get one of these cutters of some kind. If you want a specific brand such as D-Cut that professionals use, again, you can find all of these nice quality professional tools at Tools for Flooring, okay? Again, I'll leave a link in the description for that and the little cue card up in the corners. So this is a bit more of a heavy duty cutter. This is going to last for years and years, and it's probably the most versatile cutter on the market, okay? This will do a lot more than just your traditional straight in cut. So just like the other cutter, you can just take and slide this in and pull the lever down and make your cut. Very, very efficient, very nice, clean cut whatsoever. It hardly takes any effort to make these cuts, and you can do them all day long without fatiguing your body, fatiguing your hands, and your hands cramping, your thumbs hurting, your wrist hurting from all the bearing down cutting with the utility knife, okay? So one of the great things about this particular cutter here, it is set aside from any other cutter on the market because of this detail right here, okay? This cutter right here will actually make your rip cuts for you when you have to take the vinyl plank here and make a long cut all the way down the board like that for finishing up to the wall. This cutter will do that. Okay, so this cutter right here actually has a couple little thumb screws right here on each side, and the fence is detachable as well. So you can actually loosen these, put your fence in the little holes here on each side, and this allows you to slide your fence anywhere you want to. As you can see, it is loaded up with measurements here, so you got that much room that you're able to make cuts on the width, okay? So that's going to be good. I'm just going to leave it right there about 4 inches as if we was making a 4-inch rip cut, and I'm just going to tighten it down. Now that is nice and secure. It's not going to go anywhere. I can make my rip cut. It's going to be perfectly straight and nice and clean whenever I get done cutting it, okay? With very, very little strain, okay? Okay, so we're going to want to take our vinyl plank and stick it in the side of the cutter. So as you can see, this whole area right here is actually floating, and it's fastened down to the machine back here. So all of this right here is open. As you can see, there's nothing preventing the plank from going in there at all, okay? So we're going to take our plank and slide it in this tool from the left, and we got a 13-inch cut that we can do with this cutter because it's a 13-inch wide cutter, okay? So I'm going to pull it straight up against my fence, pull it down. I'm going to slide it on over another 13 inches. You ain't got to be specific on that 13 inches. You just don't want to go past where your cut stops, okay? And right there. Okay, now we have a nice, straight, clean cut on this. Nice and clean front and back side, and the main thing about that is it's completely straight. There's no danger of using a razor knife on this, and it's not painful on your body, your hands, your wrists, or thumbs, or anything like that. Very easy to do, okay? Okay, so I hope this video will help someone on their projects. Again, you can pick up any of these professional tools at toolsforflooring.com. I'll leave a link in the description. Thank you guys for tuning in. Until next time, FBSB's out.